ignore them, the adults don't allow them to create, and adults don't get them. That's the first complaint. And that's the downhill slide into autism, ADD, drug use, crime, hate, anger. From there on, it's a slide. So by the time they get to junior high, they are so morally corrupt, kids. Not because they are corrupt, it's because the system is so corrupt for control and censorship of truth that we don't get to do this. We don't get to harmonize with each other. We don't get to love each other. We don't get to create tools, software, computers. How ridiculous is it that the most advanced machine that we have, those computers, you have to go to college to learn how to use it. You have to read a manual. Computers should know who we are, how our mind functions, and they should harmonize with us. The people making those boxes are not in touch with the human heart. Would we agree?
Yes.
Yes. Next slide, please. So in this entire process that I'm sharing with you, this vocabulary, it comes to the point where you have to radiate out your intention and share with the world your gifts. So if you are just tied to the history that they teach us in elementary school on up, if you're just tied to the science and engineering and the male war, control, greed, consumerist thinking, you're not going to be able to shine like a star that we each are. We are now going into a humanity that is going to be a world with no war, a world where the economic system is going to be based on our true value, our true gifts, the bartering. Old paradigms of control and energy are collapsing right in front of us. The earth is going through its own shifts. We all know that, but we don't teach it, do we? Why are there so many earthquakes? Why is the sun, solar flares? Why are all planets going through global warming? Why is the galaxy itself shifting in energy? We have satellites out there measuring energy in all directions from the beginning, what we think is the beginning of the universe. And that energy has shifted. The vibration of the earth, what's called the Schumann resonance, that is increasing. Our magnetic field in the earth, in the ionosphere, is decreasing. We are receiving several orders of magnitude more sunlight than ever. Why? Because there's a shift occurring that is universal. And we have to get in touch with it and pay attention to it. Next slide. Part of this shift, whatever technology we create, whatever jobs we create, the definition goes into how do you, as Mark said, put back energy into the system. How do you create a positive flow of love, energy, money, value, everything. And we need to build technology that allows us to do that. Next slide, please. And I'm open for the 5-minute warning, please. As you work into who we are, as you activate our potential, you get to that point where, what is your vision? What can I create in this beautiful tool that we've been given that I can express in the world without limits? As adults, we don't need to be scared of what kids can create in their imagination, because we're stepping into a time where science fiction is going to be reality. What you see in Star Trek is true today. I am not a big conspiracy theorist, but I am a researcher. And the type of technology that I've been in front of would blow people's minds. I'll give you one quick example. The B-2 bomber. I was one of the scientists that worked on the B-2 bomber. There is a magnetic drive inside the wing of those billion-dollar planes. Each one cost us $1.5 billion. This magnetic drive distorts space in front of the plane, so it travels in a magnetic field that distorts time and space, and it's like this plane is flying through a vacuum. No air resistance, Mach 12. Not the published Mach 3, 4, 7. Mach 12. Those planes can phase in and out of dimensions. That's how powerful that technology is. And it's real. It's been real since the 70s. I worked on it. I want commercial flight planes to have that technology so they waste no gas. And by the way, there are free energy devices that are this big that can run a B-2 bomber. No gasoline. This is real. My vision is a world with no war. Nowhere. No conflicts. My vision is a world where we come in with a human value that we don't have to pay to live on this planet. Other intelligences who are paying attention to what's going on Earth can't understand why we have to pay to live on our own planet. How crazy is that idea? Next slide, please. I'm going to share with you one of my projects. This is a range of technology that I'm working to create here in San Diego, and I'm working with Mark to build a think tank of conscious technology where we can teach and retrain our gifted scientists and engineers and creators and artists to bring about this kind of work. Part of my research is in ancient technology. That's why I wear all this crazy design, Mayan, Aztec, Incan, because ancient cultures, what we consider ancient, knew so much. The Sumerians is one of the most ancient, before the Egyptians, pre-Bible, who have information that's pertinent to us today. This temple is called the Temple of Osiris in Egypt. It's in Abydos, Egypt. This is one of the inscriptions on one of the columns. It's known as the Flower of Life. Some of you may have seen it before. This thing is not painted on. It's not carved on the stone. It is projected into the stone 6 centimeters deep. So if we chip on the limestone quartz, you still see the design. We don't have that technology. We have no clue how it was done. But there are people who have a clue. Next slide, please. One click. So this is the main shape of this, and it's a whole line of research called sacred geometry. Some of you may have been into sacred geometry, and I'm just giving you a sliver of wisdom. Somehow this shape is found in Turkey, in Egypt, in China, in Mexico, in South America, Incan temples. That's a code. There's some information that's hidden in there. Next slide, please. So I'll give you some other ideas just from one temple, one site. And imagine, this stuff is everywhere in the world, including here in the U.S. There are ruins here in the U.S. that are being censored for us not to know our true history. That BS they taught us about crossing the Bering Strait in Alaska and then people going south, that's not right. Because there's ruins here in the U.S. that predate that. Something happened in one of the columns here at Abydos. Some of the mortar that was 2,000 years old cracked and fell off. This building is roughly 12,000 years old. So even 2,000 years ago, they were covering up sections. So just one more click. This is a close-up of that column. What do you guys see in some of those shapes?
Helicopter.
Exactly. And there's some things we don't even know what they are, like a little spaceship-looking thing on the right. What were they trying to tell us? How would they even have the silhouette of anything that, post-dated them by thousands of years? We don't know how much. Maybe 4,000 or 5,000 years? I have a thinking mind. I want to know. And I know there's other people that want to know the truth. Another slide, please.